Alright, so earlier I did a quick disassembly of this CYBERPOWERPC C series. Okay, let me see. They have an actual model here, but it's hard to read. Tracer IV, and then GK5MR0O. Alright, so anyways, last time the charge port was broken, so we got a replacement charge port. We're going to see if this works. This apparently the Tracer 2 and 3 I think all use the same charge port. I'm gonna find out if that's true, but it looks like this. Okay, you can see these pins here. I don't know why, but these charge ports are super expensive. They don't seem like the metal's that much thicker, but I guess they're supposed to handle higher amperage and stuff. Anyways, let's go ahead and remove all the screws. So just like before, you want to keep all the screws in order. I think these screws last time I had to kind of remove using a magnet because for some reason the threads kind of get caught in there. So I'm going to do that. And then you want to, of course, make sure to keep them all in order because they are, or they can be, different size, shape, and lengths. So again, the way I do that is I put them flat side down in the pattern I remove them. So on my desk like this, but in the pattern I remove them. All right. So we got 4 here, got 2 out here, and then 4 more down here. So if this video helps you out, make sure to like, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. Helped you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. Alright, other than that, let's go ahead and continue pulling these screws out. This is a customer computer, so keep that in mind. By the time you see this video, I likely won't have the laptop on hand. But yeah. So hopefully, if you have any questions, hopefully by the end of the video, you'll kind of know what to do. So because I already made a video of this and how to disassemble and repair and everything, this video is basically just going to be on replacing the charge port, assuming I can actually replace it. Man, these screws are a little tough to get out. The reason why I'm using a magnet to get them out is because sometimes if you don't and you pop the plastic cover off, the screws might go flying somewhere, and yeah, I don't want the screws to go flying out, so I'm going to try it with my fingernail here and use that, and there we go. Okay. Alright, so we're going to go a little bit quicker taking this thing apart. So just like before, if I remember correctly, I'm going to open this up, and then using my thumb on the palm rest assembly area, I'm going to get my fingernails in the gap here and then push with my thumb. Okay, you can see the cover comes out. You don't want to push on the trackpad, just the palm rest area. Okay, now that I've got part of it popped out, assuming I didn't push it back together. Okay, there we go. I'm going to run my fingernail along this little gap here and help pop that out. And that came out pretty easily. We're going to go along the other side as well. Same thing, go along this, and there we go. Okay, pretty simple. We got the bottom cover off, I think. Alright, oops, it snapped back down. There we go. Alright, and here you can see they even have a thermal pad there. We're going to set this aside. Okay, so now we're going to have to basically get the motherboard out so that we can get to this piece here to remove. Okay, so what we're going to do first is remove the battery. Let's actually zoom in. Again, I think I already explained all the parts inside here in the other video I made, so if you need that and you can't find it, just let me know. But we're going to go ahead now and take out the battery. Okay. Alright, make sure you want to be careful with the battery that you don't damage the pins inside the connector there. Alright, 2 screws holding it in place. Let's go ahead and remove those. Okay. And our main goal is to get the motherboard out so that we can get to the charge port. So yeah, I think before I explain the battery model as well. So we're just quickly going to be removing this stuff. Okay, let's go ahead and unlatch this so that we can pull this cable out. You want to be careful and pull it carefully, slowly. Okay, we're going to get this M.2 PCIe NVMe SSD out. And again, last time I mentioned there's a second slot there, but we are just going to be removing this in order to get the motherboard out. Okay. I think this is held in with adhesive, so I'm a little bit worried how I'm gonna have to get that out. All right, let's see. Let's try and remove the fan now. Okay, I see 3 screws here, so let's go ahead and remove these 3 screws. I think we just got a package delivered. All right, let's see if this comes out without having to take everything else out. And no, I think it's somewhat taped together. Yeah, they put some tape here. So we're gonna actually leave the fan attached right there. Okay, there's the silver screw. Oops, there's the silver screw down here. We're gonna remove that as well. And if you want to keep track of all the screws that you're removing, you can actually get a marker and then just mark where you took the screws from. Let me see if I have a good marker I can use here. Huh, I had a whole bunch of markers. Okay, let me go get a marker real quick and I'll be back. All right, I'm back. So I'm gonna mark this with this blue marker just so I know I took a screw from there. Okay, let me actually zoom out so you guys can see more because it's going to be difficult to keep moving this thing around. We got another screw here. There's actually quite a few screws holding this thing in, it looks like. So you're going to have to keep that in mind. Okay. We got 3 screws going along the bottom down here. So let's go ahead and remove all 3. Okay. All right, so we got those 3. We'll mark this. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, what else? Got. I don't think we'll have to remove these. I hope not, but we'll find out. Okay. Oh, one other thing I didn't mention. After removing the battery, you want to actually open the computer slowly, carefully, and then press and hold the power button for 15 seconds to drain any residual power. This will make it a lot safer to work on, right? And greatly reduce the risk of damaging the computer. Okay, so we'll hold it for a few more seconds. All right, that's probably good enough. Let's close that up. All right, and let's continue removing screws. That's very important for removing the screen LCD LVDS connector here. All right, so let's go ahead and pull this connector up now. I'm just grabbing this cable or this plastic pull tab here, and we're just pulling it straight up. A lot of times this cable is pretty tough to remove, so I have to kind of get in there with my fingernail underneath one of the edges here and then pop that up while I'm kind of pulling on it. So just like that. There we go. We can move that out of the way. All right, let's get this screw out. Okay. All right, there's a lot of screws here. Hopefully I'm not getting anything mixed up. Okay, I'll mark that as well. For you probably don't have to mark it because you can watch my video and see where I'm removing stuff from. But yeah, if you get mixed up, hopefully marking it will help. All right, so we're gonna get these 3 from this fan out. Alright, it's a lot of screws. Okay, hopefully I'm not missing any. I think I might actually have to remove these screws too, which is... Actually, no, it doesn't seem like it. It seems like it's coming separate from there. Okay, let's go ahead and disconnect these cables here. Okay, we got the trackpad cable here, trackpad, touchpad cable. Got the keyboard backlight cable here. Can be a little tricky because it's so short. Let's see here. I'm gonna try it with these tweezers here. Get underneath. Try and grab and pull that out. There we go. Okay. Alright, what else? I don't think we need to remove that. Alright, let's go ahead and remove this cable for the speakers. Alright, we're going to remove the wireless card as well. Okay. Now we can kind of lift this slightly up and then push this back. Alright, and do we have to remove this battery? I think is stuck down here a little bit. Actually, it's stuck to this cable, so let's go ahead and flip this latch up. Get this cable out. There's a lot of pieces here that we need to worry about, so okay, and they tape this wireless card to the battery. Let's go ahead and peel that away. Okay, I kind of don't want to remove the BIOS or CMOS battery because then the date and time and things will get reset. So I'm just kind of trying to thread this out and move it out of the way. Okay, there we go. Okay, we got another screw hidden here underneath the fan cable. Okay, mark that as well. Okay. All right, are we able to lift this yet, or are other things holding it? Let's zoom out a bit more. Okay. Still, it's stuck because of these. These are held in with some adhesive, which sucks, so I don't know. Let's see here. This is all holding on pretty strong here, so I can't just rip that up. Okay, I guess we're gonna have to somehow peel this cable up. So let's flip this latch, get this cable out. Man, this is gonna suck. This is like all stuck together down here. This is, I don't know how I'm gonna get this out. Okay, I'll peel that, pull that out. I'm probably gonna have to use some heat or something to warm this up. But let's see what we can do. Okay, so we can grab this and peel this a bit. You don't want to crease the cable too much, okay, because you don't want to damage it. So we're going to slowly, carefully peel this, okay. Slowly, carefully peel this way. And it's coming up. I'm pulling it this way as I pull it up to try and avoid creasing it, okay. And I'm going to put my hand here to prevent it from just ripping out. Okay, there we go. So now we got the adhesive separated. Let's see if we can lift this. So you can see now we can somewhat lift the motherboard up. Okay, we're going to carefully lift this out and make sure to get this cable out of the way. And there we go. We got this board out. Oh no, this is going to be a difficult one to remove. So they put this adhesive stuff all around here. We're going to have to slowly, carefully heat this to remove. I don't know why this thing is so black here, so... Oh, wow. So, I think this actually burnt from... This thing was probably loose, and then it burnt. So there was some black stuff there, and then I just scraped at it, and it came out. So hopefully the circuitry is not messed up, because if it is, that's going to be very bad. I'm just gonna kind of try and peel this stuff up a bit more. Okay, and then maybe I should get something to stick, some tape to stick this and just hold it over this way. So let me get some tape here maybe. Okay, and I'll just stick that on like that. And I folded over a tab of this tape here so you can peel it up. Okay, and we're just using that to hold that out of the way. So I'm going to try and desolder this. It's probably going to be pretty tough. We're going to have to heat this up and then slowly push this piece out. Usually you would use like hot air, but I don't know. There's a lot of little components here in the way, and if you just use hot air, it might actually blow those things off the board. So yeah, we'll see. All right, there's some dust here and some dust here. Kind of clean up. Here you can see the power button board. Wait a minute. Seriously? Is this thing attached there? Are you kidding me? How do you... What? Okay, so this cable attaches to this piece under here, which... How am I supposed to plug that back in? They folded this cable up all over like this, and then they taped it down here. Wow. Okay, so I have to carefully peel this piece up. And here you can see they have this cable here. I have to somehow attach this. Does it plug this way? You can't even get to it that way. Okay, so I'm gonna unplug this cable. Pull that out from here. Okay, so this would go like that, and then this cable would go underneath, so this should actually attach this way. That is crazy. I can actually smell the burn on this board, so I'm a little worried that it's more than just the charge port. Okay, let's get this piece back in. Okay, so we got this back in. We'll flip that latch back down. I don't know how I'm gonna get that in. I think with the way this thing is folded, I can probably connect it and then drop the motherboard into place, but that's gonna be tricky. So the way they designed this is supposed to be on here, and then you actually have to take the entire heatsink off just to get that cable in, because it's hidden underneath the heatsink here. This is a very bad design. I don't like this at all. Alright, well, it is what it is. I'm gonna have to figure it out. We'll set the rest of the computer aside. Okay, let's see here. So how are we gonna get this piece out? I don't know how I'm gonna show this on camera. I mean, soldering is soldering, so I'll probably end up doing this off camera, but basically we're gonna have to get this piece out. I'm gonna try with this cardboard box here. We're gonna try with this cardboard box here. So we use that to kind of keep it lifted up. I'll heat this, and then hopefully I'll be able to push this through. And then if that works, we should be able to solder this new one into its place, and we should be good to go. Hopefully there's no other weird things going on here. Okay, so let's go ahead and give that a go, and we'll see what we get. Okay, so we'll put this over here. Let's go ahead and zoom in. Okay. All right, and I'm gonna get the soldering iron, and I'll be back. I'll see you guys in a bit. All right, so I'm back. We're right now waiting for the soldering iron to warm up. Okay. We're gonna add some solder flux there to make it a little bit easier. Okay, so we'll add some solder flux here. Alright, we'll add some over here. Trying to just get a little bit, I don't want too much. Okay, and of course we have to add it over here on this part where it burnt. Okay, just like that. All right, let's see if it's ready. Okay, I think it's good. Let me get some of the solder off of this thing. Okay, now we're gonna melt this. Let's see if we can melt that solder. Whoa. That did not sound good. Hold on, I'll be back. Sound like somebody hit a car. I don't know what happened, but that truck, oh shit. How did that happen? So I don't know where they're going. What the heck? What the heck? Are they just driving away? What? Hopefully that's visible. So I don't know what happened. That truck is just... what the heck? That truck up there hit... that truck up there. They're driving, or I don't know. They're driving around. They're going over there. You see that truck?
Did you see it?
I saw.
You didn't see the van? Or
Huh? I didn't see the whole thing. I just saw they drove up there and they run up here. They went on the sidewalk. So I don't know. I don't know if hopefully I got their license plate too, but it was kind of blurry. Okay, time to go back to work. Alright, so I'm back. Sorry, I was distracted by the car crash outside. So I actually uploaded a video of that earlier. If you want, I'll actually have a link in the description, and actually I'll pin a comment with a link to that video so you can kind of see what happened. Alright, so anyways, let's go ahead and continue this. I'm waiting for the soldering iron to heat up again. Okay. Alright, it's going to take a little bit, and then we're going to basically have to melt this off. Oh, actually, it might be hot enough already. Let's see if we can somehow melt this and get that down. It's not quite hot enough. It's hot, but not hot enough. Okay, so actually melted some solder onto here, but it's not hot enough to actually move this piece out. Yeah, it's not really moving. Alright, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually add some solder to the soldering iron here, tip, and then we're going to use that as a heat conductor, and actually, so there's more thermal mass. Alright, will help make this melt easier. Okay. Wow, that's actually holding strong. Okay, so since we've melted that, at least I think we did, let's go ahead and go over to this side and try and do the same thing. Okay, I'm actually using my hand to try and pull the board up while pushing the thing down. Try and separate the pieces. It's a little bit dangerous what I'm doing. Let's see what we can do. Okay, actually, I can actually feel the heat somewhat going into this. So the reason these two outer pins are difficult to remove is because they are the grounding pins, and they actually are connected to this entire metal outer part, so there's a lot more thermal mass to try and keep the solder melted. Okay, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to remove this way. We'll find out. Yeah, I don't think it's going to come out that way, but we'll see. And I'm doing this a dangerous way. Okay, that's coming up. Can actually see I was able to move this this little piece of the board slightly up away, and try and do the same thing over here. So I'm basically pulling down on the DC jack and pushing up on the USB-C port to try and push the thing up out of the way. Kind of not really working. Okay. Let me see how I can do this. I have to look at the other side of the board. Yeah, that's gonna take quite a bit to melt it and move it out of the way. Let's see here. So I'm actually even melting my fingernail, I think, a little bit. Trying to pull this out. Okay. Let's see here. So this is somewhat of a pain to remove. You can actually see I'm melting my fingernail to do that. I shouldn't be doing it that way, but yeah, you can actually see this piece here is coming up slightly. Okay, that metal pin over there. All right, let's try and melt the back over here. I'm gonna clean off the tip and then add some solder there, and use that again to add more thermal mass to try and make it easier to melt. Okay, so we already put the flux here, so we're basically, you know, melting that flux, adding some solder there. So the tough part is I have to kind of melt all three of these around at the same time to be able to push it through. Okay, so we're going to try and get the solder on there and get the solder on here. Okay, the issue is trying to get solder on and heating all 3 points at the same time. It's not really possible with this small soldering iron tip. So I'm just going to move back and forth between the 3 and hopefully it's hot enough. Oh, that's really hot actually. Okay. Adding some more solder. Try and heat this again and try and pull this down. So again, usually you would use like a heat gun to do this, or soldering iron station. And that way you can kind of melt it all at the same time. I'm kind of worried because it's looking like this one piece here, the solder is not actually staying there, so I think that is actually burnt off and it's damaged. Yeah, I don't know. That's gonna be tricky. So, how am I going to do this? I might have to actually physically chop up this solder port. Okay, let me try it using the solder sucker. There's some tools to do this where I can use some suction, or I can even use the copper, this soldering wick, and you can actually put the copper stuff on there and it should absorb the solder, but sometimes it doesn't get between the cracks and then it doesn't work properly. So let me try though. Okay, so clean that up. Okay, and basically what you do is you put the wick over the solder and you heat it to where it melts the solder below, and the copper should actually pull it into the wick. Okay, to help pull the solder out, and then you should be able to kind of pull that stuff through. You can actually see the solder is going into the wick. I flipped it over, but it doesn't really pull all of it. That's the problem. So let's see, we'll heat this up and pull the solder through. Okay, I'm gonna cut this off because it's dirty now, and then we'll use a new spot and continue. Man, okay, it's sticking real strong in there. I'm going to try adding some flux to that and see if that helps. Okay, try adding some flux to there. And then we're going to try using the solder wick again. Gotta clean it off. Okay. And we'll just heat that on top. You can actually see it's pulling more of the solder in. Uh-oh, it's getting too hot now. Or now it has too much thermal mass, it's having a hard time melting it off. Okay. Let's cut the solder wick again. If I'm doing this wrong, let me know, because I'm not an expert at soldering. Okay. Alright, let's go ahead and now get some more of this. Put some more. Okay, put some more flux on there. Let's go ahead and try and melt this again. So for some reason that solder doesn't want to come out at all. It's not melting enough. And try adding some new solder to it. So I don't know why, but this one doesn't want to move. Yeah, I don't know why that doesn't want to move. Alright, well, let's go ahead and try and use this to get the solder out of here. Yeah, it doesn't seem to want to come out, so I'm probably going to have to chop up this port a bit to make it easier to take apart, because it's really stuck in there, and this burnt piece is making it harder to do. Difficult thing is, how am I gonna chop this thing up? Okay, I think what I'm going to do, okay, let's see if I can use this end cutter to chop it, at least partially. That might damage the board. I don't know if that's a good idea. Let's we'll bend it a little bit. Okay. Oh, this thing is sticking to that. Okay, so if we can somehow separate this metal piece here, that jacket, it'll be a lot easier. Let's see what we can do here. Yeah, I'm gonna try and chop this thing up, but I don't know if I can really do it while trying to show it on camera. It's kind of weird, awkward angles that I have to hold this thing. Okay, so I'm trying to cut this thing a bit. Okay, we got this metal jacket opened up, so let's see if we can go ahead and cut that. If this opens far enough. I know I'm going out of camera, but okay. You can see we can cut this metal jacket off a little bit. Sorry, it's hard to keep this in view. But you'll have to just live with what I'm recording. This isn't an easy thing. You can actually, if you take it to someone that does a lot of soldering, they can do this probably a lot easier. At least they'll have better tools to do it. So they'll probably have a better, more precise hot air station than what I have. So you can try that and see. Somebody else might be able to do it a lot easier and better. And it might be worth it to pay them to do it so that you don't risk destroying everything else. Let's see. Okay. Wow, you can see I like shredded this thing up quite a bit. Okay. Let's see if I kind of melt this now and see if I can move it a little. Okay, I need to add some solder. Kind of just falling through there. Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna try and cut that little leg off. Let's see, I have to use my other more precise cutter, so let me grab that and see if I can do it. We'll try with this and see what we can do, if we can cut this. Okay, that worked. Alright. So now that we cut that, it should be easier. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Okay. Let's see if we can reach that and cut it. Not really. Okay, that side I can't really cut. So we'll have to see what we can do about, can I cut this or is it still too? Okay, I can cut this probably. There we go. So I'm trying to like cut this metal so it has less surface area to kind of pull. Alright, so this 1 foot we should actually be able to get out more easily now because it's just holding on by itself. Probably if I heat it from the other side too, it will probably fall out. Let's go ahead and see what we can do. I actually pushed it up. Okay, I'm going to try and use the tweezers to pull on it while I heat it. Oh, it actually fell out. Okay, that works perfectly. Okay, let's see if we can get this side out somehow. Let's see what we got going on. It's coming up a little bit. Let's see if I can cut it now. It's too hard to grab in there. Okay, how am I going to do this one? So I'm gonna try and pull up on this while I kind of heat from this side. Let's see if I can heat it from here. Oops. This is not easy to get out. Okay, I'm gonna actually crack the plastic piece here. So let's see, can it reach that far? No? Okay, so let's go ahead and crack it this way if we can. Kind of, no? Nope. Okay, let's use the smaller one. I know this is probably people are probably looking at this like, what the heck? Why are you doing that? I know I'm not supposed to do it this way, but all right. Once we can kind of get each individual pin here, it'll be very easy. So that's basically what I'm doing. I'm just cutting to get closer to the individual pins. Okay, and this is the central one. So I'm going to actually cut those metal pins. Okay. You can see now we have access to this single pin by itself. Do the same thing to get that. Okay, that one doesn't want to come out. So let's go ahead and try melting that and pulling it out. Okay, I'm going to try and pull the central one. And normally I do this hanging off my desk because it's a lot easier. But let's go ahead and see what we can do here. Probably have to add more solder to it. Just let go, it didn't want to come out. Okay, I'm gonna use the pliers instead because I can actually grab it better, and then should be able to pull this. Oops. While I'm heating it, I have to pull it. It's not seeming to want to come out. solder. Let's try again. Under there and grab that. Oh. Wow, even with that much heat, it's not coming out. I don't know. It doesn't want to come out. I'm not sure what's going on here. Okay, well, let's try the side one first because it's already kind of coming out from this side. So see if we can get this out. Wow, even with all that heat, it's not coming out. Yeah, something is weird here. It doesn't want to melt. That is really strange. Let's try adding some flux. The flux can help the solder below mix together, and we'll see if it helps. Wow, it still doesn't want to come out. What is going on? Okay. I don't know what's going on with this. Come on, melt. Okay, maybe I have to add some flux and solder to the other side. Maybe the melting point on there is too high or something. Can't do that without knocking the screws over, so I'm gonna be somewhat doing it off camera, I guess. I move this stuff over without knocking anything down. Not really. Okay. I turned the soldering iron higher, but it's not doing anything. Let's try adding solder to the top here. Okay, I don't think it wants to come out. Put this back over. We added some more solder there, and let's see if anything happened. It doesn't seem to want to melt. Set the temperature a lot higher too, and it's still Still being super stubborn. What in the world? How is that possible? How can it be taking that much heat and not melting the solder? Okay. Well, I might have to cut the video there because this thing doesn't want to come out. This is more of a video just showing how much of a pain this model is to work on. Again, maybe if you're better at soldering, you might be able to do this, but for some reason, it doesn't seem to want to work. Okay, let's try heating this again. I don't know why this doesn't want to come out, but it doesn't. Okay, let's try again. This thing really doesn't want to come out. Okay, I guess we'll try the other ones. The cats are all meowing together right now. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with this. It doesn't want to come out at all. Even with reducing the thermal mass by getting rid of the extra junk inside. Let's go ahead and see if I cut this thing up some more and see if we can somehow get it to go. Completely rip this thing open now. Yeah, that central pin's not really even holding in. That's why it was arcing and it burnt this. I think this central piece is actually ripped out. So I don't know what's going on here. This cutter's not strong enough to do it. I have to use the giant one. Okay, let's see if we can cut this. Oh, that actually came out. So all of that came out. The only one that's stuck in there is that one pin. And that one pin really doesn't want to come out. Can keep doing this until it breaks off. Sorry, I'm going out of view again. Yeah, I don't recommend this as how to take apart a DC jack charge port, just in case you're wondering. This should not be how it's done. There's the broken, destroyed one. See, all that's here is this metal piece, and I can't even... I don't know. Let's try and cut it again with this, if I can somehow reach in there. There we go. Okay, we got the destroyed DC jack. Now let's see how we're going to get these little pieces out, because they don't want to come out. So, okay, I'm going to put this here. I'm going to grab that pin in the back, and I'm just going to pull it down while I try and melt the solder and see if that even does anything. I don't know why the solder's not melting. temperature on it I set even higher and it didn't do anything. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. It doesn't want to melt and come out at all. Let's try turning it over. Melt it from the other side. And get a good view of this. Try to pull this up while I melt it. Squeaking. Jeez, it doesn't want to come up at all. What is holding it in there? I don't know what's going on with this. It doesn't want to come out. Okay, let's see. Let's add more solder and see if we got anything. I think maybe this motherboard is thicker than usual and it's not letting the heat go through to both sides at the same time. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. Come on. Okay, that didn't work. More solder. What in the world? It's not coming out at all. I don't know what's going on with this thing. Applying so much heat and nothing is happening. Let's flip this. Let's try putting some more solder onto this side and see what happens. But it doesn't seem to be wanting to work. And how about I heat from this side and add solder to here? Okay, let's try adding some flux to this side because the solder's all going up this piece, but it's not going into the area where it's supposed to. Won't come out. What in the world is going on here? Okay, it finally popped out. I don't know if I'm going to be able to clean out the stuff from it. Let's see. Is this side still stuck there too? I think it has something to do with the thickness of the board. Okay. Let's go ahead and try and wick this solder up. Okay, I'm gonna try using the air solder sucker, but that I can't really do because the way I have to do it, I have to get underneath the board here. So this thing, I push it, and then when I heat the solder, I can push this button and it suctions. So I'll have to, can't really do that on camera because of the way I have to have the board like way higher. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do this over the edge of my desk, and then I'll be back once I clean it all up. Alright, see you guys in a bit. Okay guys, well, I kind of gave up. I can't get the solder out, so I'm gonna ask my partner that does more soldering. I don't work directly with him, but whenever I have like board work that I'm not able to do, I have him actually do those. So I think because this board is thicker, so I need special tools to do that. I'm not sure, because I even turned the temperature higher and it's not doing anything. So I'll see if my partner can get these cleaned up. One thing I did notice, you can actually see this part here that's burnt, and that's from this middle pin here. This one on the original one, you can see it actually melted inside. The customer actually had that all burnt up. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually take the board here to my partner, and then I'll ask them to see if they can clear out these solder points. And once they do that, I should be able to solder the new DC jack charge port in place, and then we'll continue the repair from there. Alright, so that's all for now. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye. Alright, I'm back. So yeah, I had to have my partner work on it, and here you can see the charge port is now soldered into place. We don't have the burnt melted one that was in there before. Okay, and here you can see the solder underneath. Hopefully everything is good. It looks good, so I think it should be okay. But anyways, let's go ahead and reassemble this thing. I'm a little worried. Hopefully we'll be able to somehow plug this cable in without taking the whole heatsink out. Let's go ahead and see what we can do. So we got this here. That's somehow going to have to end up under here. I don't think it's going to be possible, but we'll try. Okay, so they folded this thing all up. So I'm wondering if I'll be able to kind of like pull it out slightly to be able to get that in, but it doesn't look like I will. Let me see here. If I unfold it, I can possibly do it, but yeah, I'm probably gonna have to take the heatsink off, which really sucks. Unless I can somehow go at a weird angle and drop that in. Yeah, no, I think I'm gonna have to take the heatsink out. I was trying to avoid that at all costs, but looks like I might have no choice here. Let's see. How are they holding this? I see two screws here. Are there hidden screws underneath this? Pull this up. Okay, there's one screw hidden under here. Okay, so I guess I'm gonna have to redo all the thermal paste, which is not something I wanted to have to do. But we have no choice, so let's go ahead and clean up my work area a bit here. Okay, set this down, clean all this up. Okay. Alright, so there's the thing here. Okay. So let's go ahead now and get the pieces off here. Oops, I think I left my screwdriver inside. So let me go grab that and I'll be back. Alright, so I'm back. Let's go ahead now and take the heatsink off. Okay, so let's get this screw out. Okay. Again, keep all the screws in order. Alright, so there's 3 in a triangle holding this GPU. There's another one down here that's a little bit hard to see. Okay, and then you got 3 more holding the CPU part in place. Okay, I think this one's spring-loaded. Yep. Okay. We're also going to have to disconnect the fan cables, of course, so I'm going to grab in there and kind of just wiggle as I pull. And just keep wiggling them, and there we go. That one came out. And do the same thing on this side. Get in there, kind of just wiggle it as you pull. Okay. Wiggle, wiggle, and there we go. Came out. And then, to get this off, usually you can't just pull straight up. Usually what you want to do is you want to actually twist it a little. So try and hold the board still, and then if you can, try and pull this over. Wow, it's actually holding really strong. So let's try and lift from under here. Yeah, this is, oh, there's also tape here that I didn't see. So make sure you peel off this tape. Okay. Oh, I'm getting a phone call. Okay, so peel all that tape off as well. Let's go ahead now and try and pop it up. Wow, this thing is actually holding very strong. I don't know how I'm going to pop this off. It's stuck really strong on there. So, how are we going to get this out? So this whole heatsink thing is holding on really strong. I'm trying to use this part where the screw goes in to push on it. Okay, that worked. You can see this is coming loose. Okay, and you want to do it slowly. You don't want to just try and rip it out quick. Okay, now we got that. I'm going to go ahead and do this. So I'm pulling up on this screw spot and pushing down here on the board. And there you go. Okay, so now we got the heatsink off. I was trying to avoid it because that's a lot of thermal paste that we're going to have to clean up and reapply. Alright, looks like these thermal pads also kind of broke a little bit. Okay, so anyways, make sure this piece is in all the way. Okay, so last time it kind of actually pulled that out. Alright, let's go ahead now and get the laptop, the rest of the laptop back. Okay, let's zoom out a bit here. Excuse me. Okay, so now we're going to get this back in place. You want to make sure all these cables end up back on top of the motherboard. Okay. Alright, can be a little bit tricky. Alright, especially with this adhesive tape stuff in the way. Okay, get all these pieces back on top. Okay, get that back on top. Make sure the wireless card ends up back on top. Okay, slowly lowering it down. Make sure this keyboard backlight cable ends up on top as well. Alright, this adhesive's kind of annoying. Alright, make sure to get everything lined up into place. Okay, I think that's good. Okay, come on, line up. It's not lining up right, so there's a little thing, protruding plastic piece here that you have to get it lined up onto. There we go. Okay, and slowly get that into place. Okay, I think we got everything down into place. Let's go ahead and put back some of the screws here. So we had the 3 fan screws, then we have this silver screw here. Okay, good. If you can plug this back in as well. Okay, make sure the latch is up. Alright, now that's in. Flip that latch down. There we go. You can go ahead and stick that back down if you want. We'll get these cables back in. Let's zoom back up. Alright, make sure that latches up. And we'll get the power button cable back in. This design is really bad, but it is what it is. Okay, can I get this back up? Okay. Huh, is that all it goes in? Okay, guess that's in all the way. Flip that latch back down. Alright, I'm gonna try and pull on it a little, make sure. Yep, okay, I think that's good. So let me flip that back again. Make sure that's in. Okay. Flip that latch down, good. Okay, so we got the power button cable back into place. Let's go ahead and get all these cables down here back in. Alright. Same thing, make sure the latches are up. Get the cable lined up. Push that into place. Slide your finger over the top to lock it down. Alright, let's go ahead and get this screw back in. Okay, there we go. And we got some junk under there. Some junk stuck on my desk that I have to scrape off. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Is there still stuff under there? Making some weird noises when I move it. Okay. Okay, let's see what else we got. We got another silver black screw. So let's go ahead and put that back in. Okay. Get this screw down here back in. Okay, then we have one screw that was all the way. Let me actually zoom out here so you can see everything. Okay. Oh, that's not even zoomed out enough. There we go. Okay. Then we had one black screw under here. Okay, we can go ahead and plug this cable back in. Get it all lined up. And then just click it back down into place. Good. Alright, what else? We have this one black screw down here. Okay, we can actually go ahead and plug this back in. Oh, we almost got this cable stuck under there. Okay, oops, I have to take this screw out. And we'll take this screw out. And we'll take this screw out. I accidentally trapped a cable under there, so I want to make sure to get that back out. Okay. Okay, speaker cable, make sure to get that back in. Okay, pinch that in. Don't forget this cable here. Okay, once that's in, flip that latch back down. Okay, let's put these screws back in. Okay. Screw down here. Alright, we'll get these two cables back in, make sure the latches are up. Okay, slide your finger over the top to latch it closed. Get this cable. It's not going in right, I don't think. Pull it back slightly. There we go. I guess that's as much as it goes, actually. Alright, slide your finger over the top to latch it down. Is that as much as it goes? Okay, yeah. Alright, make sure that's in place. Latch that back down. Okay, then we have the wireless card here. Get that in place. Push that in. Okay, so we have this screw here. Make sure the wireless card is in all the way. Okay. Tighten that down. Alright. Then we have this screw here. Tighten that down. Okay, and then now the usual cleaning up the thermal paste. We're just going to use some paper towel and wipe it up. Okay, so basically wipe this stuff off. Whenever you take the heatsink off, you have to redo the thermal paste. You can't just leave it as is, because then it won't get as good thermal conductivity, and you can actually cause your computer to overheat. So keep that in mind. That's why I was trying to avoid taking out the heatsink. Let's go ahead and clean this side. Okay, let's get new paper and continue cleaning. All the stuff stuck between these, I think these are resistors. Basically, I'll have to use a toothbrush to get it out. You put way too much thermal paste. They shouldn't actually even have this much. Shouldn't be overflowing into everything like that. Okay. Alright, so we got most of that out. I'm going to have to use a toothbrush to clean up the rest. I'll actually do that off camera because I have to hold it over a trash can so the stuff doesn't just go all over my desk. Let's go ahead and clean up this. There's so much thermal paste on here. Again, there shouldn't be anywhere near this much. They put crazy amount. Ow. It's like a goop putty. Alright, I'm going to do the same thing with the CPU side. Just clean that all off. What is this? Why is there double stick tape underneath too? Okay, well. Continue cleaning. Okay, that looks good. Alright, look how gross that is. Okay, so we got most of that out. I'm going to clean off the motherboard over the trash can, so I'll do that off camera and I'll be back. See you guys in a bit. Alright, I'm back, so you can actually see how much cleaner it is. Let me set the motherboard aside. We're going to clean this up with some rubbing alcohol. Okay, so I'm going to use some isopropyl alcohol on a piece of paper towel. And we're just going to wipe the tops here to clean that off. Okay, both sides. I'm going to use the dry side and kind of just dry it up. There's some clogged all over here, so I'm going to try and clean that as well. Okay. Alright, there we go. And use the air blower to blow that off. Alright, we want to clean the copper as well, the heat sink. So same thing, gonna use some rubbing alcohol and just wipe that. Okay, both sides. Okay, look how dirty that is. Alright, I'm gonna get another paper towel just to make sure it's clean and add some more rubbing alcohol. Okay. There we go. It's still a little dirty. There you go. All right, so let's go ahead now. We'll get one more cleaning in. All right. Get one more paper towel. Okay, clean that up. It might also be rubbing off stuff from the outer part instead of the copper. Okay, we'll try this up, try that up. Okay, you can see it's a lot cleaner now. Move that aside. Okay, we'll do the same thing with this. Clean it one more time just to make sure. Nice and squeaky clean. Okay. Alright, you can see the paper's a lot cleaner. Get off any dusty junk. Alright, I'm going to use a dry one too to kind of get that off. Alright, so now we got all of that. Let's go ahead and apply some thermal paste here. So the thermal paste, this one is pretty big, so it's going to need quite a bit. But for here, we're going to use about a grain of rice, a little bit more. We're just going to kind of do a line. Okay, wow, come on, paste, come out. The paste is kind of really solid right now. The paste I'm using is Icy Diamond. You can use any paste, should be fine. Okay, there's no specific one. I like Icy Diamond because it's non-conductive and stuff, so if you do happen to get it to flow outside, it's not a problem. Some people were using this liquid metal stuff, and that's pretty risky. Okay. Okay, so just like that. Alright, so just put a line like this, okay, you can see. And this one we're going to do the same. This has a lot of surface area, so normally for something this big you'd need about the size of a pea. So we're just going to kind of have a line that is about enough that if you were to pile it together, should be about the size of a pea. Okay, and the heatsink smushes this super flat, so you don't have to worry about it. It looks like it might not be that much, but it will actually spread all across the entire thing, okay? Alright, so just like this. Might actually need more, but put a bit more, just like this. Okay. Probably too much. Okay. This GPU is actually almost the size of a full-sized desktop CPU core. Okay, so there we go. Let me make sure there's nothing stuck over there. Since we have it open, might as well clean it up all around. Okay. Alright, so now what we're going to do, actually let's zoom out here so you can see better. We're going to put the heatsink back on top, make sure these pieces of tape stay out of the way. Okay, we're going to flip this back over and carefully place this back on top. Make sure everything we needed to plug in is plugged back in. Okay, and I'm going to line up the little fan screw mounts first. And slowly drop it into place. Okay, there we go. Alright, and then the best way to do this is you actually want to go in order of the screws that they tell you. They actually have some numbers here. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So let's go ahead and put the screws in that order. I'm just going to loosely fit them first. Okay, so we'll get this screw here. 1, 2, 3. Okay, screw number 2, and I twist it backwards till I hear it click, and then 1, 2, 3. Okay, same thing over here. Click, 1, 2, 3. All right. Screw number 4 up here. Okay. Click, 1, 2, 3. Oops, I accidentally covered that adhesive piece. Shoot. Okay, let's take this back out. since we didn't kind of smash everything down completely, then we should be okay taking everything back out and putting it back down, hopefully. Okay. To lift this side back up carefully, slowly. Okay, now I have to somehow lift this piece out. Stay up to go in between. Okay, there we go. Then we can go ahead and drop this back down. Alright, let's go ahead now and put it back. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And the last one, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so now we're going to go same thing. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And now we can actually just tighten it all the way down. Okay, make sure it's nice and tight. Okay, make sure it's nice and tight. Make sure that's nice and tight. Okay, good. Okay, make sure these screws are all tightened into place well. Okay, and last one. Alright, there we go. So now that should be good. Let's go ahead and plug the fan connectors back in. Make sure you have them facing the right way with the metal pieces facing up. Okay, pinch that back into place just like that. Okay, same thing with this one. Line it up. Come on. Okay, there we go. And then pinch that back in. There we go. Okay, now we need to put the fan screws back in. There's 3 on each side. Okay. 1 here. 1 here. 1 here. Okay, we're going to put this tape back over the top. I don't even know why they have this tape, but since it was there, we'll just stick it back on. Okay. If you want, smoothing it out. Same thing with the tape over here. Okay. Smoothing it out. Okay. Smooth that out. Okay, nice and smooth. Then we'll get the 3 screws for this side of the fan. Make sure you're not damaging any of these cables here. Okay. Oh shoot, I didn't pay attention if the wireless antennas are supposed to be on top or underneath or what. But they're underneath right now. Okay, you know what? I probably need to check my video to make sure. I don't want to tighten this down yet. Let me check that real quick. I want to make sure I did this right where the antennas are underneath. And I'll be back. Alright, see you guys in a bit. Alright, so I just checked. The cable is right. So let's go ahead and get all these screws back in. Okay. And the last one up here. Okay, hopefully we got everything in, all these connections. Alright, don't forget the SSD here. Okay, so this SSD went over here. Get that lined up, push that in. Okay, get that screw in. I don't know what this CNFP1 is for. I think some models have a fingerprint sensor. I don't remember a cable being there, so I think that should be okay. Alright, zoom out here. I'm gonna have to see if I have a charger that will work with this, because this is a custom charger and their charger was completely melted. I don't know if I showed it already, but this is what their original charger looks like. It actually burnt a hole through the metal housing. The lighting is not very good, but you can see there's a hole in there, and all the plastic around it, come on, focus, all the plastic around it burnt. So I don't know, I don't think I have one that's this powerful, but we'll see. 19.5 volt, 9.23 amps. Okay, anyways, we got all of that done, so let's go ahead now and put the battery back in. You want to confirm one more time everything looks good. Okay, I think everything is reassembled and where it should be. Okay, so let's go ahead now and get the battery back in. Alright, so get this plug lined up, push that back into place. Okay, make sure the battery is lined up well. We'll get these two screws back in. Okay, go. Alright, so here you can see this can be for the thumbnail, so I'm going to put that there. It's a little bit crooked, but I can't really do anything about that. Okay, so let's go ahead now and get the bottom cover, and we'll just put this back on, get it all lined up. Okay, click everything back down into place. Alright, you can see the charge port looks good now here. Okay, everything looks good. Alright, let's just get all the screws back in, and that's pretty much it. So hopefully this video helped you guys out. If it did, make sure to like, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. If it helped you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. Other than that, that's all there is to it. Again, I'm going to see if I have a charger that will work with this. If I do, I'll be back and I'll show you. But other than that, we're pretty much done here. Okay, let's get all these screws in. Okay, so hopefully I have the right one. I have a universal one, but it's only 100 watts. This one is like needs almost 200 watts. I think it's 180. So I don't think I have one that's that powerful. But we'll find out. The main thing is just to plug it in and see if it even lights up to show it's charging. So hopefully it's not going to burn up or anything. Hopefully there's no broken trace on the motherboard that will end up going bad. But yeah. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this back in. Okay, so we got all the screws back in. I'm going to try with my universal charger first. This thing looks kind of gross, so I'm going to try and clean it with some rubbing alcohol. Some crusty stuff on it. Okay. Okay. Alright. So let's go ahead now and try with a charger. Alright, I'll be back. I'm going to look for one and I'll see you guys in a bit. Okay, so one thing I noticed, the charge port doesn't line up right, so how am I going to fix that? Let me go ahead and I guess we're going to open this thing back up. I'm going to see what I can do and I'll be back. Alright, you guys already saw how to take this thing apart, so I don't really need to record that part. Okay, so I'll see you guys soon. Alright, so we'll see how all this works. I basically had to put a spacer here, I think because this charge port was slightly different from the original. What I did was I just folded up some cardstock paper till it was just the right thickness to hold that in place. Okay, and now we're just going to go ahead and put that back together. Alright, I actually tested it with this charger and it works okay. Let me see here if I put this thing back on. I actually had to take some of the screws out to kind of lift up the board enough. So let's go ahead and actually put these screws back in. Okay. All these screws out. And let's go ahead now and just get them all back in. this motherboard screw here too. Alright. Alright, so there we go. Let's go ahead now and put this thing back on. Okay, so get it all lined up. And now you can see when I put this, the charge port actually lines up. The USB-C, everything lines up. It's a little bit crooked, the USB-C, because of that, but it is what it is. We can't really do much about that. I can't find the exact charge port for this, so I had to use a different model, but it should work. Okay, so let's go ahead now and just get all these screws back in. Again, you already saw how to do this, so other than that, that's pretty much all there is to it. Alright, make sure everything clips back into place as you put all the screws in. Okay, and then I'll show you, I'll plug it in just to show you. Again, I don't have the right type of charger. The charger I have is lower amperage, so it doesn't exactly work the same way, but yeah, hopefully it will be good enough. Alright, so we're just going to get all these screws back in. Alright, make sure everything is snapped in. Let's double check the charge port is lined up enough. Okay, looks good. Alright, the other option would basically be I'd have to drill out this area here, which that might be a worse option. I don't know, we'll have to see, but looks like that works. Okay, so let's go ahead and get these screws all back in. I do want to test the USB-C port as well, just to make sure it's lined up right. Okay, let's get all these screws in. And I can actually test the USB-C port with this little USB-C to USB adapter. Let's go ahead and plug that in, make sure it works. Yes, it works fine. Okay, so that USB-C port will work fine. Oh. Okay, and let's test this plug. And yes, that goes in just fine as well. Okay, so that's the only workaround we had to do since we couldn't find the right USB, or sorry, the DC jack or charge port. It was as close as possible. It's a little bit, again, too short for the feet. The other option would have to be you can maybe pull it up slightly when you solder, but then it won't have as good of a connection. Okay, so now let me show you when we plug it in how you know it's actually working. I'm going to flip this over. Okay, open this up. Alright, so there's the two little indicator lights here. Okay, and right now none of these lights are on. When we go to, I'll plug it in while we have this. Okay, when we go to plug this in, then hopefully you can see, oh, sorry, I don't know if you can see, this light is blinking now. Oh yeah, you can see it. Okay, so it's blinking now. So that's how we know it's working. Alright, and that's pretty much it. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Alright, let's drop this. Bye. Oh, and just in case you're wondering, I am powering it up. And because we disconnected the CMOS or BIOS battery, it's likely going to take a while to boot. The first time I turned it on, the light flashed on and off, and it's actually starting now. Alright, so that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching.